Will there be a border breakthrough or more of the same? More than 60 House Republicans, including the Speaker of the House, are set to visit Eagle Pass. The Speaker says he wants to see the impact of the border crisis for himself.
Our Daniela Ibarra is live from the border tonight. So Daniela, how are people who live there, who work there, feeling about this upcoming visit?
Well, Myra and Steve, I got to tell you, we talked to a lot of people today. A lot of them didn't even know that this visit was happening. Some of them were surprised. Others say they're glad, and others say that they're frustrated it's taken this long for people from the federal government to come. One person even told me he wishes that this visit would have happened 2 weeks ago when this field behind me was packed with migrants. We were here when that happened. At some points, there were over 2,400 migrants waiting in that field overnight to be processed. Now, we also spoke with business owners who also say that they're frustrated with this crisis. Now, some of these businesses we spoke with, they say that most recent surge has cost them money. With Border Patrol diverting their resources to process migrants, it's taking longer for people to cross over onto the bridge onto this side of the border. We spoke with one business owner who says it took hours for employees and customers to cross. Because of that delay, the president of Eagle Pass's Chamber of Commerce says he's heard some businesses have taken a profit loss of anywhere between 40 to 60%. Now, the people who live here, they want solutions, and they're hoping tomorrow's visit will provide them with some.
Daniela, let's talk about solutions. Congressman Tony Gonzalez says he wants the same thing. He wants people in Congress to solve the immigration issues. There's going to be a lot of congressmen there tomorrow. Is this different than so many visits we've seen before? Is there hope that some sort of bipartisan solution can be reached? Or is this just another photo op that both parties seem to do at the border these days?
Well, that's what a lot of people here in Eagle Pass want to know for themselves. I do want to point out that group of delegates who's coming, they're all Republicans. Tony Gonzalez, when he was here a couple weeks ago, he did say that he wanted to work with both sides of the aisle. He actually sent a letter to congressional leaders, both Democrats and Republicans, asking for them to step up and help.
So those delegates, they're the ones who are coming. Let's talk about the people who are there now, though. You mentioned those fields we saw that were packed behind you a couple of weeks ago. What are you seeing right now in terms of any migrants gathered there? Are there people still waiting to be processed?
Myra, from where we're standing right now, we haven't really seen anyone. Like, this has been it. Nobody's standing behind us. We have seen a couple of buses pull up. From what we've been able to tell, they're empty. We do see Border Patrol here, not as many as we've seen in the past, but we haven't really seen any migrants come over.
All right, so we know the Speaker of the House, Johnson's going to be there tomorrow. Is Eagle Pass expecting any more federal visits in the days to come?
Yeah, actually, a week from today, they're expecting the Secretary of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas, to come. He's expected to meet with Border Patrol and local leaders. And that's someone, Steve, who, when we've talked to people who live here in Eagle Pass on our visits here before, that's someone who, by name, they've wanted to come here to Eagle Pass.
All right, Daniela, thank you so much. Live in Eagle Pass, we'll see what this visit from these delegates actually brings. Thanks so much.